There's a problem in technology that directly impacts our economy and the environment. Many gadgets are designed to stop working after a short time, so tech companies can sell more. Today, we're talking to a leader in a growing movement focusing on making electronics that last longer while saving us money to protect the planet. Joining us is the director of Design to Last from the U.S. Public Interest Research Group. Let's welcome Lucas Rocket Gutterman. Hello, Lucas. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Hi, Desiree. Excited to talk about this.
Yeah, so Lucas, we've all heard about e-waste, but can you give us an idea of just how big of a problem it is right now?
Yeah, e-waste is a huge and growing problem. I think we all have drawers full of all phones and laptops and appliances that don't work anymore, but it's really larger than that. E-waste, which is anything with a cord or a plug, is the fastest growing waste stream in the world. So here in the US, we're throwing out about 500 pounds of e-waste each second. And then Californians are actually throwing out 46,000 cell phones a day.
Wow. And you mentioned, e-waste also includes cords with the plugs. I didn't even think about that. I have so many chargers that after time, when they stop working, I toss them. So some tech is designed in a way that makes it impossible to repair, like those earbuds with the glued-in batteries. Why do companies design products this way, and how is it contributing to the e-waste crisis?
Yeah, you're totally right, Desiree. There's some headphones like Apple AirPods that have batteries that are glued in, and those batteries can't be replaced. So all rechargeable batteries eventually die after 2 or 3 years. And with a glued in battery, you're really left with no other options. It's like a countdown clock
Hmm.
that's ticking down the life that that product has left. They do this for a couple different reasons. It could just make the product lighter and easier. They can just spend less money designing the product, but it also drives us to replace things that should still work or could be fixed. And that just means that there's more money in the pockets of big tech companies that are making these products.
Can you explain too how software updates, which we get all the time, how those maybe contribute to the e-waste problem as well?
Yeah, it's important to make sure that you accept those software updates. They're making sure that your phone or your laptop is safe and secure. But increasingly, we're actually seeing software play more of a role in the e-waste crisis as well. So, for example, last year, our Chromebook churn report found that those laptops, which are really often used in schools, actually have expiration dates after which software support ends. And once that software is expired, schools actually can't use the Chromebooks to access some secure websites like state testing websites. So we worked with teachers and parents and PTAs who all spoke out, and Google actually listened to extend support for Chromebooks for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
But it's not just Chromebooks. We're also seeing Windows 10 will be expiring next year. Potentially 400 million PCs around the world won't be able to upgrade to Windows 11.
Hmm.
And that just means that we're all sort of pushed to replace our laptops that should still work because we've lost this software support.
It's such a tricky subject. And I mean, recycling feels like the right thing to do, but is it really enough to tackle the e-waste problem?
Recycling is definitely important. We like to say that the worst kind of recycling is still better than the best landfilling. But because we're making so much e waste, we can't recycle our way out of this problem. So the UN found that electronics manufacturing is growing 5 times faster than recycling. So we just need to stop making and tossing so much stuff. So individually, we can choose to reuse, we can repair and buy refurbished or secondhand rather than new electronics.
Hmm.
But we also need to call on manufacturers to change the status quo, right? So they can't keep using software to drive replacement. If we bought something, we should really be able to use it safely for as long as we want and not be pushed to replace it just because the software is expired.
And to that point, I mean, we've gotten used to a buy, use, toss cycle. I get a new phone, I use it. Once it starts even slowing down a bit in the slightest, maybe it's time to get that new upgrade and tossing the one that you currently have. Why do you say it's important to maybe shift away from that mindset?
Yeah, the amount of e-waste that we're producing is just not sustainable. And if you think about it, it's really sort of the only type of product that we treat this way. When we have a problem with our car, we don't throw it out and buy a new one, right? And so we should think about our laptops the same way. Why don't we replace our broken parts? Why don't we pass them on to the next generation so that we can keep this stuff in use for as long as possible, save some money, and reduce the environmental impact that comes from replacing stuff all the time?
Any final steps that our viewers can take to be a part of the solution? Are there simple changes we can make to reduce our e-waste footprint?
Yeah, definitely. We recommend to reuse and repair what you've already got. If you're buying something or replacing something, try and buy refurbished so you
Mm.
can get great deals and also help protect the environment by buying refurbished products. And then we also need to really call on companies to do better. They should not be designing for the dump with glued in batteries and software that drives waste. We have a guide for what to do with e-waste at perg.org/e-waste, where you can learn how to reuse or recycle your old electronics. And then finally, you can get involved with CalPERG. That's actually calling on manufacturers to make this change at calperg.org.
There we go. You're teaching us how we can all do our part in this e-waste problem. Thank you so much. And to our viewers, you can support the efforts of the U.S. Public Interest Research Group by going to PIRG, that's PIRG.org.